Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set, cocked, locked? Here we go. Dial set correctly to USA Prepares. We're delighted you're here with us in class today. Mackenzie is engineering the broadcast in Minnesota at GCN. And if you'd like to call us, 866-582-9933. 866-582-9933. If you'd like to bring us along as you travel, the telephone listen line is 605-477-3249. 605-477-3249. Dr. Joel Wallach's with us. He's at the head of the classroom, Senior USA Prepares Instructor. And today we were going to talk about a couple things. Of course, health and medicine. Yeah, okay. We're going to talk with Dr. Joel Wallach. And we're going to be talking about illnesses, lymphoma. We're going to be talking about how to start your own business, a Youngevity business. For $25, you can be in business. I'd like to ask him about mind-altering drugs. Many states have legalized marijuana, cannabis, and, well, you know that traffic accidents are up. I'd like to know what his thoughts are about mind-altering drugs and the body. Are there negative effects? Mm-hmm. And so, just to recap, with Dr. Joel Wallach, we're going to talk about starting your own business, lymphoma, mind-altering drugs, the legalization of marijuana, and does that have a negative effect on the body? People are moody. Why are they moody? And is it because they're unhealthy? What about Lyme disease? Is there something we should do to prepare for it? Because we don't know when that next tick is going to bite us. And I've got a whole bunch of other questions for Dr. Joel Wallach. Welcome, Dr. Joel Wallach.
Hello, Vincent.
It's great to hear your voice, Doctor. It's a little difficult to hear you. I'm not sure. Maybe if you could speak a little bit closer to the microphone, that would work.
Okay, does that help?
It helps a little bit, yeah. Yeah. So, why don't we start? I'm sorry?
You have a volume switch.
I do. Okay. All right. One of the questions I wanted to ask you about and discuss on the air today is I've been reading about a greater number of car crashes, automobile accidents, if you will, from people who live in states where mind-altering drugs are legal. Okay? Specifically talking about marijuana. But my question is not about that as much as it is, what are your thoughts about marijuana, and does it have any negative effects on the body or not? I don't use it. It's not something that is of interest to me, but I thought maybe our class might be interested in knowing that.
Okay. Well, yeah, the class should be very interested. America should be very interested. Of course, even as a recreational drug, which requires no prescription in some states, it's kind of like alcohol, those kinds of things, tobacco. They're distracting, it's habit-forming, and can certainly contribute to the number of car accidents. But my concern about marijuana is birth defects. Watch what happens in the states that have legalized marijuana for recreational use without prescription. In the next 5 years, birth defects are going to skyrocket in those states. It's not because marijuana causes birth defects, but people who are emotionally and mentally invested in marijuana are not going to spend any money on vitamins and minerals. You're not going to be taking 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids for 6 months before pregnancy. You're going to be smoking pot. and the number of birth defects are just going to skyrocket, okay? When you have fetal alcohol syndrome and the baby's born retarded and has multiple birth defects, I've seen babies with 38 different major birth defects. And it has little or nothing to do with the alcohol. Alcohol is just kind of a sugar. You burn it as fuel. But the effect is that when people are alcoholics, they're so involved in social stuff that they are drinking 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, or lunch, dinner, and at night, or social stuff or business stuff. They're not taking any vitamins and minerals. And women, again, who are in the childbearing years, are spending their money on marijuana, on alcohol, rather than on vitamins and minerals. And most women do not take any vitamins and minerals until they've already missed 2 or 3 periods. The embryo is already severely damaged. They may even have a miscarriage because of the terrible numbers of birth defects that has been inflicted upon the baby because of nutritional deficiencies in the mother. And so this is a terrible effect. This is going to cost us trillions, not billions. This is the next 5 years. This is going to cost us trillions of dollars of birth defects because of marijuana being added to the list of recreational drugs like alcohol and tobacco and so forth. So it's one of those things where we're in trouble. The general public has no idea. The medical system has not warned them. The government has not warned them. It should be imperative when people buy marijuana, particularly in the childbearing years, they're also obligated to buy vitamins and minerals to make sure that the baby is going to be okay. And so because the general public is going to wind up paying for all these babies with catastrophic birth defects. That's my concern.
I have the very same concern. And you mentioned alcohol and you mentioned tobacco. And I know some people who use tobacco and they just flat out can't shake it. They are addicted and they're spending money on those products. And it's not cheap. I mean, it's a considerable amount of a person's income. You know, if they have a job, to buy packs of cigarettes and chewing tobacco and so forth. And so you're seeing, from what I understand you just said, you're seeing the same kinds of results because money is being spent on tobacco and alcohol in lieu of vitamins, mineral supplements, and nutrition.
That's correct. That's correct. And, of course, the general public is going to pay for this. It's going to be an awful thing to behold. And there's going to be birth defects that nobody's ever seen before because of the terrible deficiencies in our food. Nutrients are no longer found in our food. It's imperative we must supplement. And there should be a way to make sure that these people who are buying recreational marijuana and alcohol and tobacco are taking vitamins and minerals. And here's the deal. When it comes to addiction, people can get off of any addictive drug, including tobacco and alcohol, marijuana, opioids, can get off of any addictive drug within a month if they really want to. They have to want to. If they're having a good time, they love living in la-la land, they don't care, okay? Everybody else around them is impacted and cares, and they put them in rehab centers, they do this and that, and they just can't shake it because they really don't want to shake it. They're enjoying it too much. Okay, so those who want to shake it, those who really, really, really are responsible individuals, they're addicted because the doctor has given them an opioid for pain secondary to a back surgery or something like that, the doctor should go to jail because there are more effective painkillers that are not addictive, but the doctors purposely addict the patient so the patient has to come in every month and renew the prescription. And that's
Dr. Wallach, there are some new members of our class that I'm sure just heard what you said and probably say to themselves, that can't be true. Now, I'm here to stand with you. I believe it is true. I believe that doctors are in the business, some are in the business of perpetuating their business and increasing their business by getting those doctor's appointments and surgeries and exactly what you said. But for those who are new to hearing this kind of thing, they probably think we're kidding. How do you address that?
Well, we're not kidding. Of course, as you point out, there's a lot of nice people and respectable people in the healthcare profession, but you have to appreciate, Vincent, that the medical trade is the only trade in America that has no oversight by anybody. Nobody checks their diagnoses. Nobody checks their treatment plans and choices. Nobody checks their billing. Well, you can't do that. That's patient doctor, what do you call it? Where only they can see it. Okay, the patient doctor stuff to where nobody else can look at it.
Confidentiality?
Well, confidentiality is not exactly the word I'm looking for, but it covers the territory. Okay, and basically, if the public is paying for people's care, then the public ought to have a right through representatives, some committee, some group of people who are trained to understand this stuff. Look at the records every 3 months and check the diagnoses. For instance, in the monologue coming in, I heard you talking about Lyme disease. I run into people who say, I've had Lyme disease for 25 years. Well, it's curable in 2 weeks with antibiotics. Why do patients have Lyme disease for 25 years? Because all the doctor has to do, without seeing the patient every month, is push the button on the computer and it automatically bills the insurance company for treatment, monthly treatment for Lyme disease. The Lyme disease is caused by a bug that's easily killable with antibiotics, and people are getting Lyme disease where the ticks don't occur, which carry the Lyme disease. That's because it's an easy diagnosis. Nobody has the ability to check out the doctor's diagnoses. Nobody has the ability to check out the doctor's billing. And so it's one of those things where the doctor just has somebody who has a chronic problem. They could have just simple gluten intolerance. And they've got rashes all over them. They've got eczema and dermatitis. They got joint pain because they have multiple deficiencies. They've got high blood pressure. They've got diabetes, liver disease. And they just say, you have an autoimmune disease, or you have Lyme disease. And they just put that into the system, and they automatically bill the insurance company every month. The insurance company pays. Your rates go up to cover that cost. And that's why 85% of the personal bankruptcies in America are due to medical bills. Because there is no ability for anybody to look and see the accuracy and honesty of the diagnosis and treatment.
Class Dr. Joel Wallach's with us, and I'm going to give you a phone number. The Protocol Order Hotline, 417-863-7149. 417-863-7149. Dr. Wallach, I've got a question for you. I have a neighbor who has been taking two of the supplements that you recommend. One is the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and the other is the De-Stress. Now, same supplements I take. And so he was over at our farmhouse a couple of days ago in the morning. He's a great guy, shows up and has been to our expos, and he's met you. And so I said to him, so he's in his 70s. I said, so is it working for you? And he's been taking it for months. He said, I don't know. I said, oh, okay. Well, stop taking it. See what happens. and what I was trying to say is, if you don't think it's working, stop taking it, and you will just grind to a slower and slower halt. You will feel it if you stop taking it, and that's one way you'll see that it's absolutely positively working. Did I give him bad advice, or what are your thoughts on that?
It's a good thing to try it that way. It's kind of like when people don't believe they have a gluten intolerance. Just go gluten-free for, say, 30 days and be drop-dead gluten-free, and then go out to one of these big pasta places and eat a couple of big buckets of spaghetti. You'll know that night, hey, you better get back on the gluten-free diet. Same way. And it's one of those things where when people don't even realize that they don't hear their joints cracking and popping when they go up the stairs or squat down anymore. They don't realize their neck's not grinding anymore when they turn their head to the right or left. They don't realize that they're sleeping an extra couple of hours comfortably without having to get up at the night. They go to the bathroom. And because they're not keeping records. And so suddenly, all that creeps back on them when they stop taking this stuff, because these nutrients are no longer found in the food then, so that's our problem. 50 to 100 years ago, if you lived on a farm, and you know this, farmers used to be the healthiest people in the world. Well, in the industrialized world now, farmers are the unhealthiest people in the world because they're just not getting what they used to get out of the soil. Because they've been electrified, they have electricity coming into every farm. It was actually the wood ashes, which was their source of minerals, nutritional minerals. They didn't realize it, but when they threw their wood ashes in their stove and their fireplace into the gardens, the plants were sucking up the minerals, which were the wood ashes. The wood ashes are really minerals, not wood ashes. And people were getting their minerals unknowingly that way. And when they went to electricity, They did not replace your traditional source of nutritional minerals, and that's why suddenly now farmers have arthritis, they have back problems, they have gluten problems, they have high blood pressure, they have diabetes, they have liver problems, which they never used to have before because they're just not getting the nutrients they used to get. You must consciously supplement today, no matter how well you eat, no matter how smart you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter how fit you are. If you're not supplementing, you're going to get a bad problem and you're going to die early.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Wallach, I can tell you I'm appalled at what I see. If I go to one of these big box type supermarkets, I'm appalled at some of the farmers that I see. They've got their overalls on. You can tell they're farmers, and some of them I know, and most of them I don't. But they're gaining weight like it's a fad, and I look at their carts and I see why. These are probably the farmers who are in their 60s, 70s, probably not into their 80s, but in their 60s and 70s, 50s even. And their carts are loaded with what I refer to as extruded food. That would be food that can be mixed up and pumped out of a nozzle of a machine and cut into slices or made into different shapes and patterns. And that's what they're eating. They used to can their own food. They used to go out into their own garden, as you've talked about. But they're not doing that as much now because they've been conned into this new way of, well, it's at the supermarket, it's convenient, we can put it in the cupboard, it keeps for a long time, or we can open those cans and we can just put that in a bowl, put it in the microwave oven, and there's dinner. And that's what's happening, and I can see the effect. They're becoming larger.
Yeah, you're seeing results, but the problem is 1 billion times worse than even you imagine. The problem is 1 billion with a B, 1 billion times worse than you imagine. And that's because, again, the nutrients are not in the food. And one of the symptoms of these nutritional deficiencies is weight gain. Gaining weight, if you had all the nutrients, you wouldn't be gaining weight. And you wouldn't be craving these sugary foods, taste good, and are convenient and so forth. You just won't crave them. You must supplement. You supplement these farmers, and they'll lose all the weight, 2 pounds a day. It'll be real easy. And I can have a program for that called the Weight Loss Pack. And you give them the right supplements, which these things are no longer found in the food. Guess what? That's when we need 3 nutrients in the salt, we need 60. Uh-oh, we're in trouble.
We'll be right back. Class Dr. Joel Wallach's with us, and let me give you that number for the Youngevity Protocol Order Hotline, 417-863-7149, 417-863-7149. That's USA Prepares Youngevity Protocol Order Hotline. So if you got some questions, you'll get them answered right there at that number, 417-863-7149. Dr. Wallach, I just checked my body mass index, and it's 21.9. And here's my question. If I were not eating right, if I were not getting the right amount of exercise, if I were not getting the right supplementation, vitamins, mineral supplements, would I be able to have a body mass index of 21.9?
No, Vincent, it would start creeping up towards that terrible 35. You don't want to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So the obese. And, of course, again, being overweight and obese is not due to lack of exercise and eating too much. It's actually due to certain nutrient deficiencies, a particular class of nutrients. And there's some of those, there's 3 of them. If you're deficient in any one of those nutrients, Vincent, you're going to be the 300, 600, 800-pound person. These are the people I deal with. We deal with thousands of people who need to lose 50 pounds, 25 pounds, 100 pounds. But I'm the one who gets the ones who need to lose 300 pounds, 400 pounds. And so it's not unusual to get a 5'3" lady who weighs 588 pounds. And she's been on every kind of thing, drug you want. And she's getting ready to do a gastric bypass. We get on her program, and we get her from 588. Remember, she's 5'3". She goes from 588 to 224 in 2 years. Another year, she's down to like 130, just by changing the diet and supplementing properly. It's the lack of nutrients that causes people to gain weight. It is not due to just eating improperly. The drive to eat extra food is driven by the deficiency. The deficiencies in horses is called cribbing. You ever heard of horses cribbing?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, even many farmers, will think the horses chew on the stall rails inside the barn because they're bored. No, they're doing that because they're missing nutrients, and they're going to eat anything they can reach. They don't have access to a refrigerator with pie and ice cream in it, so they're going to eat the barn when they have these deficiencies. You give them these nutrients, they stop cribbing. Little kids will eat really weird things. They'll eat dirt and wood ashes, which makes sense. They'll eat the Tootsie Rolls out of the kitty litter box. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
And they eat weird stuff when they're missing these nutrients. I had one little gal, 3 years old, Millie Hinkle from Indiana. She would eat light bulbs. Put a light bulb in a sock and mash it up with her shoe and then eat the outer light bulb. Okay, so she was looking for something, and food wasn't satisfying her because the nutrients are no longer in the food. And so it's just really crazy, the things that people eat because they're missing these nutrients. You take the nutrients, you lose a half a pound to 2 pounds a day. It never fails because it's a scientific fact. I actually have a book out, which they can get through you in that hotline. It's called Hell's Kitchen. The kitchen can be a place of hell or heaven, depending on what you do in there. But you're supplementing, if that's part of your routine at breakfast and dinner time, you're supplementing with the 90, the 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids. You're going to get results. It's like gravity. It's predictable. You're going to get results. You're going to lose that half a pound to 2 pounds a day. You watch your calories and stay away from carbohydrates. Eat vegetables and meat and vegetables and eggs, vegetables and poultry, vegetables and fish. You will lose weight. And keep it off as long as you're taking the 90 essential nutrients, because it's the deficiencies that cause you to gain the weight.
Let's talk about economics, Dr. Wallach. So this 588-pound lady who had an option. She could have part of her body removed surgically. She could undergo the bodily trauma, and then she could live a life of not being able to eat full meals anymore, or she could buy supplements. In terms of economics, just dollars, which way is she better off?
Oh, changing her diet and getting on the supplements, she's better off not only financially but health-wise, of course. And the reason why, the bad foods cost money. They cost a lot of money. We're talking about fried foods, processed meats, things like deli slices, sandwich meats, sausage, ham, bacon, bologna, salami, pastrami, pepperoni, jerky. How much does a pound of pepperoni cost? Good Italian pepperoni, you're talking about $8, $10 a pound.
Yeah, and jerky is $1 an ounce.
Well, there you go.
Beef jerky is $1. Well, maybe even more. I'm sorry, maybe $3 an ounce. Excuse me.
Yeah. And so, if you get rid of the bad foods, you're going to save enough money to pay for your supplements, and it won't be a strain to the budget. You'll actually be saving money. And of course, you save on medical bills. You will save on visits to doctors, which all cost money. Well, people say, well, insurance pays for it. Yeah, well, watch what's happening to your insurance monthly premiums. Instead of being $300 a month, now it creeps up to $1,200 a month. Instead of your copayment,
that's true.
Yeah, instead of the copayments being $600, it creeps up to $6,000. And this is why the Affordable Health Care Act is collapsing. That's why 85% of all personal bankruptcies in America are due to medical bills. And that's why Youngevity is in a perfect position to save America. We can make churches disease-free in 2 months or less. We can make churches disease-free. We can satisfy every prayer on the prayer list. But people have to take action. Just praying is not enough. Okay? Praying is not enough. Even biblically, in the Bible it says praying is not enough. The Bible says faith without works is dead. Like people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. And of course, just having somebody pray for you in the church and you keep eating all the bad stuff, not supplementing, you're not doing your part. You got to do your part. God requires us to do our part.
Dr. Wallach, last week, hour number 2, after you and I finished up hour number 1, I did the first half of a seminar on extreme tax deductions. And some people may think that, how can you get away with it? It's not getting away with anything. It's just reading the rules and starting a business and using the rules to our advantage. Okay, it's not getting away with anything. Would you explain again to our broadcast class how they can start a business, buy Youngevity supplements, and actually have a positive cash flow and income and extreme tax deductions? Would you share that? And after you and I are done today, I'm going to do the second half of that and talk more about it.
Okay, well, you're exactly right, Vincent. For a one-time fee in your life, for $25, you can get a legitimate business with Youngevity. If you're an employee, you have no access to tax deductions. Of course, the government's fighting right now. We want to We want to give tax deductions to employees. It's not going to be very much. It's not going to be very much because the government has all these expenses to pay for, right? So they have to keep those tax deductions. They're going to tax the working person. That's what Congress does. Well, what happens here is when you get your little business with Youngevity, $25 one time, you get the same tax breaks that billionaires get. You get the exact same tax breaks that billionaires get for a one-time fee in your life at $25. And this Youngevity business is transferable through your will. It's willable. In other words, when you die, you will your Youngevity business to somebody in your family, your brother, your kid, your spouse, your nephew, whoever you want to will it to, and they don't have to pay the $25 because you could go 1,000 generations and never have to pay the $25 again. Now, and instantly before the ink dries from your signature on the application to get a Youngevity business for a one-time fee of $25, you get the tax breaks of a billionaire. For instance, you have a home office. You don't have to go out and rent a retail space, which is a lot of overhead. You just use your home office, a spare bedroom, or half of your den, whatever. And just for easy math, let's say you're using 10% of your floor space in your house, your office, your little warehouse, your library, your little conference room with 5 chairs in it. And 10% of your mortgage, let's say your mortgage, just again for easy math, is $1,000 a month. 10% of $1,000 is $100 a month. That's $1,200. You just got a tax deduction right there. Just by signing the paper and giving up $25 once, you get $1,200 back immediately. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, you also get the same 10% off your utilities. Let's say your utilities are $300 a month. At the end of the year, you're going to get close to $500 back there, so now you're at $1,700. And you could do a little business plan. We actually have a book called Wall Street for Kids. It'll teach you how to do a business plan. In your business plan, you say your little Youngevity business is going to give you benefits. Just like you work for a big corporation, they give you benefits. Well, your Youngevity benefits to you as a sort of part of your wages, so to speak, part of your cash flow, will be that they're going to pay for your monthly premiums for your health care. They're going to pay for your monthly premiums for your life insurance. They're going to pay for your monthly fees for your gym membership. They're going to pay your monthly fees for your requirements to qualify to get a check from Youngevity every month, which say is $150 on auto ship. And you say, well, my Youngevity business, I'm only making $15 a month. That's my check was last month was $15. How am I paying for $2,000 worth of those things? Well, you keep paying it out of your own pocket, but you loan that money from your pocket to your Youngevity business on a little check every month. Why would you go borrow money from the bank when you can borrow it from yourself? Okay, you loan the money to your Youngevity business, and then you pay for these things out of your Youngevity account. Then it becomes tax deductible legitimately because it's legally in your business plan, which is a legal document. And again, the book Wall Street for Kids will teach you how to do that legal business plan. Okay, then say 6 months from now or a year from now or 2 years from now when you're making enough money, you start paying yourself back with 10% interest. So you're going to make the interest back, okay? And, of course, when let's say you're making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 in tax deductions each year and travel to our big events, your hotel, your travel, your meals, and so forth, your hotel, the registration fee, that's all tax deductible. So let's say you're up to $5,000 at the end of the year, you get tax breaks. And let's say your withholdings is $4,000. Well, you get back your $4,000 from the withholding plus $1,000, okay? And suddenly now you're to the good. And that doesn't count all your cash flow. And your cash flow, like everything else, you can have a cash flow whatever you want. If you don't work your business very much, you just buy a few things for yourself, you're not going to have much cash flow. But let's say you spend a couple hours a week, just say 2 to 5 hours a week, and you use our tools to loan out to people, like the Dead Doctors Don't Lie CG, a stick of butter a day keeps the doctor away. And you leverage your time that way, and the message is going out the same. You start sponsoring 1 or 2 people a month. In 6 months' time, you're getting a check big enough from Youngevity to pay for your products. Your products are now free. It's just that simple, and it's very exciting because, again, the book Wall Street for Kids goes into everything, how to do this. It's written so that a fifth grade reading level is enough to work at this business. It's just magic, but it's legal. It's outrageously legal, and it's outrageously profitable.
Yeah, in class, I'm going to be talking about that hour number 2 in a little more detail. But what Dr. Wallach just said is absolutely correct. We'll be right back. Class, Dr. Joel Wallach is with us. Dr. Wallach, let me give out that number one more time. The Youngevity Protocol Order Hotline, 417-863-6666. 7149. 417-863-7149. Dr. Wallach, I got one of those phone calls last night that no one wants to get. And it was from the daughter of a mentor of mine. And I learned that he had lymphoma and that he just entered hospice. Is there anything that we can do for him?
Oh, absolutely. Your immune system is your best friend when you have any type of cancer, whether it's lymphoma or colon cancer, breast cancer, brain cancer. Your immune system is your best friend because it's going to attack any foreign thing, which is the cancer, and not attack your cells. It's not time for one more experimental chemotherapy treatment, right? You want to stay away from that if they're talking about hospice. What you want to do is make sure they're eating. First, we have all kinds of shakes. You can make it with heavy whipping cream, throw a couple of eggs in there, and have 2 or 3 of those a day. That'll help keep the body weight up, give the body good protein and good fat calories. Then they need the 90 essential nutrients. And we have the liquids, we have the powders, we have capsules anyway. And the capsules you can open up and put in tablespoons of applesauce. There's easy ways to get it into a G-tube, or if they can still take it orally. Then we have things that really specifically support the immune system, such as Z-radical. Z like zebra, dashed in the word radical. It has 3 super juices in it. And fucoidan. Fucoidan is a substance that's extracted from red marine algae. And the Japanese actually have done 850 university studies on it. And it's the reason they give why they have 50% of the cancer rate we have, and 90% of the cancer recoveries, 90% more than we have because of this fucoidan. And so we have the liquid. And somebody in hospice, I'd have to take 3 ounces a day, be 3 quarts a month on top of the basic 90 program. Ounce of breakfast, lunch, and dinner time. They can add it to the shakes, so they can just take it straight in a half a glass of water. Then we also have tablets called BTT 2.0 tablets. That's not the crystals with all the nutrition. It's these tablets that we call ORAC points in them. And if I had a terminal case of cancer of any type, I would take 8 a day. 2 at breakfast, 2 at lunch, 2 at dinner time. I'd take 2 at bedtime. I'd get my 8 capsules or tablets in every day. That'd be 2 bottles a month. That's going to get your ORAC points, your antioxidant points, above 320,000 per day. I take in 500,000 of these ORAC points a day just for prevention. I've been doing this, guys, for at least 40 years. And, I just turned 77 in the American way of counting age. In the Chinese way of counting age, I'm 78 because they start at conception rather than birth. And so, and most people think I'm in my late 40s or early 50s. And nobody's going to steal an airplane with me on it, okay? And so, just, referring to my good physical shape, if one does get cancer, you need to support the immune system. And somebody who's really sick and they're not eating well, I like to go with the liquid. Of course, that's where the Z-radical comes in. And also, again, the 90 essential nutrients. You got to give the body what it needs just to maintain itself. And then don't forget the shakes, the Slender FX. Don't make it with water. It's weight loss. You want to make it with heavy whipping cream or half and half. Throw in some eggs. You can throw in some of the supplements. You can even put that Z-radical in the morning and evening shake. And then you have steamed vegetables and some eggs, or steamed vegetables and some poultry or fish, or even red meat for lunch. And, if they say he's got less than a year to live, or less than 6 months to live, or less than 90 days to live, 5 years later, he's still banging along. That's the way we like to do it. And even if you can just make people's quality of life better, instead of 3 months to live, maybe they get 2 years, that's a lot better. 2 years is a lot better than 3 months, and the quality of life is much better. Never get, you say, well, we got this new experimental chemotherapy we're going to try on you. You only got 3 months to live, you might as well do it. No, don't do it. Do not get the experimental therapy. But you could die in 3 days instead of 3 months. That's what they want to find out. Does this chemotherapy kill you when you're terminal? Okay, if you don't want to do that, you can.
Yeah, and when you're in a position like that, desperation can set in very easily, and it's pretty hard.
That's it.
Pretty hard to...
People get fearful. They grab for that last experimental thing. Don't do it.
Yeah. There you go. Dr. Wallach, thanks so much for being with us. I look forward to seeing you next Friday at USA Prepares Hour Number 1. Dr. Joel Wallach, Protocol Order Hotline, 417-863-7149. Dr. Wallach, really, thank you so much for dispensing such great medical advice, and I know it was very well received. Class, hour number 2 Yeah. Hour number 2, Extreme Tax Deductions with Marty Barrett. We'll be right back.
Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Cocked, locked, hour number 2 of USA Prepares. That's USA, PREPARES.com. We broadcast 2 hours, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 11 a.m. Central Time on GCNlive.com. Also picked up on Republic Broadcasting and affiliates throughout the country, like KLID, AM 1340, Poplar Bluff, Missouri. I'm delighted to be broadcasting with Marty Barrett today. Welcome, Marty.
Hey, since last week you got me all stirred up about taxes. I never realized how many taxes I was paying everywhere. So I've got my notebook and pencil ready for all your hints on how I can do something about it.
I just heard a tax deduction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfectly quiet until now.
Yeah. Well, your tax deduction is in class with us. That's wonderful. Okay.
Yes.
So let me just have a few disclaimers here, class. This is part 2 of Start Your Own Business. Make your passion your business. Make your hobby your business. Extreme Tax Deductions part 2. All of the statements that I make are based on life experiences, what others have experienced firsthand. They contain my opinions. Now, please proceed at your own risk. Now, just to nail home this point, don't believe anything that I say. Do your own do your own research, and so consider this class as entertainment. And Marty, last week I asked you this question of all the people that you know, and you know many people that I don't know. Who's better off? Those that have their own businesses or those who have jobs? Who's better off?
I would say their own businesses. And you have to like the boss at that point.
Yeah.
So I think, and it sounds like you're going to do me more help with taxes that way.
I am. So we're gonna start our own business. So Marty, now you are a college instructor and you have been in the hard sciences for a couple decades. So it's not something that's new to you, but you haven't started your own business. But you've done things that could be in your business. So what would you like your business to be? We'll build a business around you right here in this classroom. And I'll tell you, I'll just list off extreme tax deductions, and then you can ask me all the questions you'd like about that. So let's build your business. What's it going to be?
Okay, I think I could be a professional tutor. Certainly on the side, helping high school kids or kids in other colleges to get up to snuff on the hard sciences.
Okay. So these are children who have a little bit of difficulty understanding the classroom material. Maybe they are stuck on some points that need to be refreshed that they should have learned, could have learned, didn't learn. Maybe just need some further clarification, or maybe they need a lot of help. But so there are clients or customers out there that you can help. Is that correct?
Yes, and usually I get them a couple weeks before the final exam. I've had some that I brought from a failure up to a 77 on a long weekend, 3 days. But the student practically lived here. He dreamt science, and we got him through it. So I feel like my business could be successful, and maybe I can resist paying some taxes along the way.
Okay. And we're not talking about tax evasion, class. That's illegal. But tax avoidance is perfectly legal. Okay. So I'm going to just list, Marty Barrett, some, we'll call these business use of the home potential business expenses / tax deductions. Okay. So for office, and I sat down at the computer at the kitchen last night, and I just typed off a whole bunch of these things. I'm just going to read them, and then we'll discuss them. So office supplies, pencils, paper, pens, notebooks, business cards, stamps, envelopes, flyers, posters, signs. Office equipment, calculator, telephone set, telephone answering machine, a PC monitor, like a second monitor, so you have two, and do two screens at one time. PC headphones, PC microphones, PC software, PC tech support, PC repair, the printer, PC peripherals, and software subscriptions. Communications, the cell phone additional warranty plan, the cell phone case, the cell phone repairs, a voice recorder. For a security system, an electronic security system, system installation, monthly subscription fees, security system repairs, a dog food, dog house, dog bed, dog collar, dog license, dog medications, vet appointments and visits. A camera. And I even have dog repairs. And what do I mean?
Oh, we got those.
Fixing
3 dogs, we got some dog repairs.
Yeah, okay. And then preventative measures. So cats. Cats prevent mice damage. Certain businesses this will apply to. The purchase of a cat. Adoption fees. Cat collar, cat food, cat medications, vet appointments and visits. Tools. Hand tools, power tools. In the electrical aisle. New circuits, new outlets, new switches. Electrical upgrades. Okay? Extension cords, power strips, surge protection, light bulbs. Yeah, light bulbs. Appliances. Coffee maker. Can you deduct a coffee maker? I'm going to tell you how if you want to know. A mini refrigerator, carpet cleaning equipment, stereo system and speakers, a window air conditioner, dehumidifier, television, cords, cables. Okay? Office furniture. Desks, chairs, rug, wall-to-wall carpet installation, lamps, paintings, pictures, office decor, chairs, mats, and here's some supplies, cleaning supplies, office paint, house modifications. Yeah, if you have to modify your house for your business, let's say you have a client that needs a wheelchair ramp. Oh, yeah, that's bona fide. Bathroom modifications, same. Tree removal. Let's say there's a tree in the way of parking. Driveway modifications. Then the expenses that pertain to the house. Let's say you have a 10-room house, 1/10 of, or if you have a 7-room house, 1/7 of. 1/7 of what? Repairs. That'd be roof, siding, driveway, plumbing, heating, electrical. Okay? Maintenance of those same things. Roof, siding, driveway, plumbing, heating, electrical, etc. Water bill, electric bill, real estate taxes, homeowner association fees, neighborhood dues, exterior painting, lawn maintenance, whether you do it yourself and buy a lawnmower or whether you have someone do it for you, trash removal, the lawnmower maintenance, fuel filters and oil, travel at 54 cents a mile traveled, and meals, business meetings at 50% for the meals, and if they're educational meals, 100%. And, of course, clothing. So I rattled those off very quickly. So let's go into your business. And let's see if I've got this right. So we're going to be tutoring some people, some of them young, and some of them maybe a little older than that, because you have some, don't you have older students attending some of your classes?
My students vary in age from 13 to 77.
Okay.
So we've got a wide range of people.
And this is college, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're going to be teaching some of these people at your home. Are there any of those potential deductions that I mentioned that piqued your interest? Like, how would I do that? Okay, let's go for it.
Well, one thing I was thinking about, I wanted to add to your list, is when you talked about the software and such, I might have to get a consultant to make a nice website for myself.
Okay.
And I'm presuming that's tax deductible?
Absolutely. So we have some ways to point. One of our instructors, Ed Marvini, is in Florida. He can do that for you, and he has a special price for you. But you can have that done locally. You can learn how to do it yourself. You can hire somebody to do part of it. You can finish the rest of it. But if you are using that website for your business, those expenses are tax deductible, absolutely. And so is the cost of the web hosting company. So if you use Bluehost and it's $5 per month, or you upgrade to a more expensive plan with more bandwidth, if you will, you can spend more. But yes, all of that is deductible because it is a business expense. It's all bona fide. And so you're consulting, yes. If you have to go to eBay and buy a book, let's say you buy a book on how to develop a website using WordPress, because you need to do that. That is a deduction as well.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I'm unstoppable now.
Well, no, it's not. There's no stopping this. You're absolutely right. So I'm sitting here right next to a case of notebooks. I went to the Chinese factory outlet class. That's Walmart, and they had notebooks at the start of school, and they were selling them they used to sell them for 10 cents. Well, they jacked up the price. They went to 15 cents. They went to 17 cents. So they were selling these spiral notebooks, and let me just tell you how many pages they are. They are one subject, 70 sheets, college ruled. Some of them have blue covers, green covers, yellow covers. So I bought 3 cases of them. At 17 cents a piece, why would I not do that? So I have these. Now, I'm sitting at the studio. I have 3 or 4 of these in front of me. And when I'm on with Dr. Joel Wallach and Dr. Norman Shealy, I take my notes. And so it's part of my business, this radio broadcast business. I have them all. So if I get audited and they say, Finelli, show me what this deduction is. I'll say, well, I'll tell you, can I show you a picture? I've got a picture right here on my little camera. I can show you that. But if you want, I can come back in a couple of weeks and I'll bring I'll bring my hand truck and I'll bring these cases and notebooks in. But I have them. Mm-hmm. So that's a legitimate deduction. And so is the Bic pen that I bought several packages of at the Chinese factory outlet. I think they're like $1 for 10 or so. I use them. And so that's another deduction. So yes, it is unstoppable. And so is the electricity that powers your computer that runs the internet. So do you have another question that relates to what I might have said?
Well, one thing, I was looking at the legal deductions online, and I noticed they said no dogs.
That's crazy.
Do you think that'd be okay? Anyway, how would you explain around that?
All right, well, I can use my case, and then I can use your case.
Okay.
So right now, we've had as many as 5 dogs right here at the farm. And if someone comes up to our farm, they are the first bell to ring. They bark. They say somebody's here. Now, why is that important? Well, for me, it's important for my security. Okay? It lets me know that someone's here and that I wasn't expecting. Because if I was expecting them, I'd be looking for them. Okay?
Right.
So I'm being surprised. It could be the UPS driver. It could be the United States Postal Service carrier. It could be somebody I don't know. It could be someone intending to do me harm or my family harm. Okay, right now, there's an escapee from our local jail. And he's heading north from the jail, and my dogs are on patrol. Is that a security system? Is that bona fide? You bet. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Barrett's with us, and we're talking about extreme tax deductions. Marty, I mentioned the dog, and you said that your research says you cannot deduct a dog on your as an expense on your income tax, and I'm saying that's absolutely nonsense. However, make sure you do your own research, class. So I have a dog who's an English Mastiff, and an English Mastiff typically weighs up to 230 pounds, typically 160 to 230 pounds. Ours is on the high end of that weight. There is no question in my mind that when he's outside, and he's outside a lot, that if someone comes to the house and he just stands at the driveway, they're intimidated. Okay? Absolutely. And if this escapee comes on our property and sees our dog and our dog barks at him, he's not going to come forward. He's going to go the other way. No question in my mind. So that is one part of our security system. And we have other dogs who are on patrol outside all the time. Okay? So is it bona fide? Yes. And
more than one dog would be okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. And now bear in mind, let me say this. Let me go back just a little bit. I attended a seminar many, many years ago, back in 1980. It was about how to invest in real estate and become financially independent. Not wealthy, but independent so you can be in control of your life. And I was late for the seminar. I paid $495 for the seminar, and it had a money-back guarantee. So I thought, well, I can go, and if I don't like it, I'll get my money back if I leave before 12 noon on day number 1. It was a 2-day seminar, Saturday and Sunday. So I went to the seminar, and I walked in, sat down, and it was a big seminar, like 500 people or so in this room. And the seminar presenter said, so how many of you have been audited? And I sat in the back so I could see people in front of me, and a couple hands went up, just a few. And I sheepishly raised my hand, and I've been audited. And the seminar presenter said, the rest of you are paying too much in taxes. Okay? And that goes back to our class number 1 of last week. If you haven't been audited, you're probably paying too much in taxes because you're not taking those extreme tax deductions that you are entitled to. Okay. Now, what kind of dog do you have?
3 rescues.
Okay. Well, all right. And all right, let me ask you, what size are they? And just give me a weight.
one 60, two 40s.
Okay, one of them weighs 60 pounds, two of them weigh 40 pounds. Okay. Is anyone a little concerned if they come to your house about the 60-pound dog maybe not being friendly? Is that a possibility?
More so one of the 40-pound dogs. It's the boss.
Okay, all right. Well, here's the point. So you have your class, and sometimes you're going to be teaching people that you don't know very well in your own home, okay? And your husband may not be there. Is that right?
True.
Mm-hmm. So you may be all alone. Okay. So that dog or those 3 dogs are a deterrent, and they are part of your security system. So if I were you and I made that choice to deduct the expenses of the dogs, the veterinarian supplies, the vet visits, the travel to buy the dog food at 54 cents a mile and back, and the dog food, and the supplements and all that kind of expense that you go through. And in your neck of the woods, I believe you have dog licenses, right? You have to pay a fee in order to have a dog?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so with all those expenses to have man's best friend and the security system, I would deduct it. If it were me, I would deduct it, and I do. And I would be prepared to defend that. And if audited, I would say, are you kidding me? I'm alone, I'm teaching, and I absolutely have to have protection. Not only that, the dog's probably going to bark first, bite first, and then I'm going to pull out my gun. Which, by the way, that's on line 15 as another deduction. Seriously.
Now, what if my dog needed surgery? That would they feel that was exorbitant?
Well, it's not what they feel. It's what you feel. You just have to defend it. Now, if you have an investment in your security system, and you would, because they don't come pre-programmed, you actually have to train your security system, don't you?
Yes.
So you have an investment of time and money in that security system, and they don't last forever. I mean, these security systems fail at some point, typically around 10 years. They fail.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got this investment, and if that investment needs repairs, absolutely, it is an expense against the business, in my opinion. If your business requires it. Now, if your business doesn't require it and you just think it's cool to have a dog, that's kind of hard to justify. But in your case, I think it's absolutely 100% bona fide, just as I do in my case. Yeah. So think about some of these other things that I've listed, and we'll talk about them when we come back. Marty Barrett's with us. Extreme Tax Deductions, Part 2. Class, we're talking about extreme tax deductions, all bona fide, in my opinion. Marty Barrett's with us, and we're building her business, which is a tutorial business where she's going to instruct people who need help in the hard sciences at the college and high school level. Marty, do you have any questions about some of those extreme tax deductions that I read off before?
Yeah, I do, but first I wanted to add something to your list. I'm getting all excited about this. Membership to professional organizations. I have to be current in the field, so that would certainly be a deduction.
Yes, and because it's educational, if you have to travel to that location, let's say it's let's say it's more than a mile away, you can deduct to and from travel expenses at 54 cents a mile, plus your meals at 100% of the cost of your meals. Now, that doesn't mean you can go crazy and have, $1,000 dinner. It has to be within reason, okay? As far as I'm concerned. Now, I don't waste money. So if I'm in a situation like that, I'm going to have an inexpensive but healthy meal. I'm probably not going to spend more than $15 or $18 for a dinner. I'm not going to spend more than $10 for a lunch. That's without the gift that I'd be giving the waiter or waitress. So
while you're talking about limits,
yeah.
Are there limits on things like, I have 2 daughters. One bought an expensive $800 cell phone. The other went to garagesale.com in our local area and bought a $25 cell phone. Is there?
Well,
how do you know the limit?
I don't think so. What's reasonable? Now, as far as I can tell, it is within reason for some people to buy an $800 cell phone because they want a lot of bells and whistles and features and so forth. I'm with your other daughter who would spend the $25 if I were to buy one. I'm not going to because of my concerns about cell phones. But if you require a cell phone for your business, okay, if you think that contacting your clients promptly, on time, quickly is important, and you're not going to be at a computer for email all the time, and you think that is the way for you to be in contact, then absolutely it is deductible. Now, how much of it's deductible? How much do you use of that cell phone? So if you figure you use half of it for personal use and half of it for business, then you can deduct 50% for your business. If you use 90% of it for your business and 10% personally, then you deduct 90%. If you use all of it for your business, then you deduct all of it. Now that would be the cell phone bill, the taxes, the fees, the insurance on the cell phone, and the repairs should it, get dropped and broken. Now, if you were to buy a gold-plated or a gold case for it, 24 karat, 14 karat case, because you like the looks of it, I'd have a tough time justifying that. But even if it's an $800 phone, I think you can justify that.
Now, what if you had? We get our services like phone, landline, cable, and internet are all bundled together. How much of that could I deduct?
Okay. Well, how much of it do you use? So, for example, at our farmhouse, pretty much everything I do is based on the business. So, for example, when I call Marty Barrett, okay, and I've talked to you, let me just ask you openly and in public. When I'm on the phone with you, do we talk about USA Prepares? Do we talk about instruction? Do we talk about the radio broadcast? Do we talk about the topic? Is it germane to? Well, the last time we talked, was it germane to today's broadcast?
Yes.
Okay. And when you called me, was it germane to the broadcast? Didn't you have a couple questions?
Sure.
Okay, so those are all bona fide telephone calls. Now, if that's the kind of thing and of course we had some pleasantries, how's your husband, and, how are the children, and how are the puppies, and, that kind of stuff. But for the most part, 95%, 99% of our chat is about what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, what we're going to talk about, and, getting everybody on the same page. It's all business, in my opinion. So it's deductible. Now, in your case, the cable. Do you use your cable for watching things that you think are germane to your tutorial business? Are you going to use your internet feed for watching YouTube videos as to how to operate your own business, how to do a startup business, tax deductions? Are you going to produce a YouTube video or 2 or 3, or are you going to use the internet for producing lessons? If you are, you figure out, you determine, Marty Barrett, as the owner of the business, what percentage you are actually using of those services for your business, and then that would be the deduction percentage.
Okay.
Also, now,
also,
in my case, I don't watch hardly anything that is not germane to my business. Okay, if I watch something that some might call entertainment, like House of Cards, which is vile and filthy, I'll talk about that on the air. So can I deduct that portion of Netflix? Of course I can, because I'm teaching our class about that. Now, in your case, you have to find, what works for you and what is germane to your business. But yes, it is deductible at whatever percentage you feel is bona fide. Now,
do you have to have any proof that you have a business? Any legal proof?
Are you saying, do you have to register your business?
Yes.
Well, I have, our business is registered with the Secretary of State. USA Prepares. If you want to register your name, you can do that. If you want to have a corporation, let's say you're concerned that you might be sued for something. If you were making pickles and you thought, geez, I might be poisoning a few of my customers if they buy some pickles, so I want to have a corporate structure to protect my house, my car, my property from...
Or one of my service instructors here bid a person.
Well, okay, you have insurance for that with your homeowners, don't you?
Okay, got it.
Yes, you do. But as far as asking for permission to start your business, in my opinion, now just about everybody will disagree with me, but in my opinion, you can start a business without formally requesting permission to start your business. Have I formally requested the county for permission to start my business? Absolutely not. No. What do I need them for? How are they going to help me with my business? The only thing they're going to do is jump on me and demand that I produce more and more and more of whatever they want. And I don't need their help. I really don't. As a matter of fact, I think they're a nuisance. So I'm not going to do it. Well, it's just like you have a dog license. I don't have a dog license, and I'm not going to get one. But some people might arrest your dog if you don't have a dog license. If your dog gets out and you don't have a dog license, they might fine you. In my case, I make sure that doesn't happen. But I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get permission to start my business or operate my business. But I have registered the name USA Prepares to protect the brand. And yes, I do have a corporate structure. I do have a corporate structure because at one time we had meetups and we had preparedness expos, and somebody could slip and fall on a grape that somebody put just in front of them just so we would get sued. And to protect our family, I did form a corporate structure. But if I were teaching lessons here at the farmhouse on biology, chemistry, zoology, astrology, whatever it is, I would not. That's just my thought.
Now, did that cost for you to register your business with the government?
Yeah. It's $50 a year. Yes, I have to pay $50 to keep that name. $50 to register it, $50 a year to keep it.
Okay.
But if I had
the biggest thing I've learned from you today is the fact that not to be scared of an audit.
Absolutely not. It's the coolest thing. It really is. It's
I want you to describe your audit experiences.
You want me to do that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So when our children were younger, 3 and 4 years old, I wanted them to see what this was like. And so Mrs. Finelli and I went to an audit at the IRS. And so we brought all of our documentation with us, our computer printouts and all that. And I said to Mrs. Finelli, look, this is going to take hours. So we're going to be here at least half a day. And the children are going to get hungry, they're going to get bored, they're going to get cranky. And if they do, just let them do it. Whatever it is they want to do, let them do it. Let them run wild. And normally they wouldn't. But, you keep them captive in a government office where, it's foreign to them, they're going to get a little different from what they would be at home. And
I think I might act up in that circumstance.
And it's tense, and you can see, the auditor isn't happy and smiling at us. He's shooting daggers at us across the audit table, right? And it's a government office, and it's not real pleasant. So the plan was to let the children do whatever they want to do. And if I said to Mrs. Finelli, look, the children are, can you do something? They're acting up a little bit. Please, it looks like our son is pulling the adding machine tape out of the calculator for the auditor. Can you and he's looking at the calculator and typing on the keys. And can you do something? And if I say something like that, just ignore me. Just say yes. I'll be glad to, and ignore it. Just let them continue. Well, after a couple of hours,
children too.
Actually, well, yeah, that'd be a good. Well, you should actually bring a whole bunch of people because it's a great educational experience. And by the way, that is another tax deduction. Okay, so I would tell the auditor right away, hey, thanks so much for inviting me. This is a great educational experience. Now that just puts a line in the sand saying I'm going to deduct this as an educational experience, and including my meals, because yeah.
Just don't feed those kids first.
I might even, depending on how long it takes, I might even order pizza, right at the audit, have it delivered right there, and
and not share.
Well, I'd sell them half, if he, I would probably say, would you like to order? We're going Dutch treat. So what I did was I let the children go absolutely wild. Now it's not like they were like what you see currently in the stores with yelling and screaming and crying. It wasn't like that. But there were crackers, and there were, the cups that could spill at any second with water on them on the table. And they were looking at the books, and they were running around opening file cabinets, and it was great. It was really great. And so I would say to Mrs. Finelli, please, can you do something with the children? And she was perfect, absolutely perfect. She would nod and say yes and ignore me. And it just worked. Now, another thing is, you might think that you have to be civic-minded when you go to one of these audits. Bathe, the day before, just before you leave the house. There's nothing that says you have to bathe the week before. There's nothing that says you have to use deodorant. There's nothing that says you have to wear, clothes that have just been washed and not worn a couple times. So I think the plan, to get out of an audit quickly is to stink. Marty Barrett's with us. Marty, the hour's going really, really quickly, and we've got a lot more to cover. So would you consider coming back a couple more times? Because I don't think we're going to make it through The entire Extreme
Sure.
Tax Deductions.
Fridays?
Yeah, Fridays. Okay. So next week, can you do it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be part 3 next week. So, Marty, do you have any other questions?
One thing that I think I might be amiss on is I always assume that the guy that does my taxes is, when he submits those taxes, he's agreeing that if I'm audited, he goes with me. Is that the case?
Yeah. Well, do you have that in writing? Did he say, hey,
No.
And your guy's name is Joe, if I remember correctly, from
Right.
broadcast number 1? Yeah. So did Joe say, listen, Marty, it's okay. You know, you and your husband, I'm there. I'm with you. I'll be
No.
there. Has he said that?
Never said that.
Okay.
So,
Well,
so I can't assume that.
No. No. And by the way, is he available all year long, or does he, is he a snowbird? Does he go to Florida?
Yes, he does.
He does. So your guy works, hard, long hours during tax season, and then he's gone. Okay, so
Right.
you get the letter in the mail, you get the notice that you're going to be audited, and you call up Joe, and so, hey, Joe, listen, I'm so glad you're here. By the way, thanks for taking my call. My husband and I are getting audited. Remember you did our tax? Remember me, Marty Barrett?
Yeah.
Marty Barrett, Barret. Remember me?
That's how I started.
Sort of. I sort of remember you. Well, we're getting audited, Joe, and so they say we got to be there on the 1st of next month. Can you be with us? Well, Marty, I'm with my family. I'm in Florida. You're 1,000 miles away. Geez, Marty. I don't think so.
He's in his second home that all of us dopes paid for.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to say you're dopes, but I do want to say that you have been convinced that that's the way to do it because your neighbors have Joe do their taxes and your friends do, and that's how you got recommended. Or you're in one of those clubs, maybe a women's club, or your husband is in a men's club, Kiwanis or Lions, or the Moose Club, or something like that. Somebody recommended Joe, didn't they? How'd you find him?
I don't remember how we found him. He's not real local either. He's a good 45 minutes away.
Okay, so somebody recommended him.
Yeah, somewhere along the line.
Okay. All right. Well, let me talk about this. I mentioned here's some extreme deductions, tools, hand tools. Okay, so you've got this room in your house, and it's the 3rd bedroom on the left, and you say, you know what? We're not using it anymore. Let's make that our training classroom. But, the molding, we don't have molding in there, so let's put some molding on the floor. So you need a hammer and a saw and a miter saw and, a nail punch. And so you need some tools. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're going to do that, you could hire a carpenter, but that'd cost more. So you and your husband decide, we'll do it ourselves. We'll get the paintbrushes and we'll get the spackle. We'll fix a couple of those little gouges and, dings and dents in the walls that have been there over the years. So we're going to need some tools. Spackle tools, the spackle supplies, the painting tools, the brushes, the tarps, all that stuff, the drop cloth, all the stuff that you need, the masking tape, all those are tax deductions, including the hand tools. And if you need some power tools, yeah. And if you need the power tools that are for this particular project to upgrade the room or renovate the room or spruce up the room, to make it the way you want it for your classroom, those are all tax deductible items. Absolutely. Because you wouldn't have had them if you weren't going to put that molding on. You wouldn't have painted that room.
100% of all these things.
Absolutely. In my opinion, yeah.
Wow.
And if I were audited, I'd say to the guy, look, I don't do that stuff. I don't need a hammer. What do I need a hammer for? I had to put the molding on, and it was less expensive than hiring do you know how much carpenters cost? Do you know how much painters cost? They wanted over $1,000 to paint that room. So my husband and I did it, and we bought, a gallon of paint at the big box paint store. The home improvement store. We got it for under $30 a gallon. We got the roller, the drop cloth. Heck, for under $150, we got the whole thing done. So we saved a lot of money. Don't you think that was? Yeah. Wow. Okay.
I want to
Marty,
hear more about your auditing experiences.
Marty, I'll tell you this. This is not bragging. This is just the truth. We have won every audit. They have never been able to defeat us, including the guys that came after us for $100,000 in what they claimed was unpaid sales tax. There was no sales tax due. They made it up, and these guys are in the business of extracting money at the muzzle of a gun. And yes, you can win, and we win every time. And the only reason we win is because we have our facts. We do it above board. We don't break the code. We don't break the law. We do it honestly, and we have written reasons why we've done everything, and their rules.